A political firestorm has erupted in the Formula One paddock, and it threatens to derail the 2026 season before it has even begun. The battle lines have been drawn, not on the track, but in the boardrooms and back-channel meetings. On one side, you have Mercedes, the engineering powerhouse that has once again pushed the boundaries of the regulations. On the other, a powerful and unprecedented alliance of four rival manufacturers, Ferrari, Audi, Honda, and Red Bull powertrains, who have ganged up with a single unified goal: to ban Mercedes' new engine. The data that emerged from the Bahrain pre-season test has ignited a conflict that is about far more than just a clever technical trick. It's a fight for the very soul of Formula One. The heart of the controversy lies deep within Mercedes' brand new 2026 power unit. The new regulations for this era of Formula One demand a lower compression ratio of 16:1, a change designed to level the playing field. However, the rules crucially state that this measurement must be taken at ambient, or room, temperature. Mercedes engineers, in a moment of sheer brilliance, spotted a loophole. They designed an engine that is perfectly legal at ambient temperature, but through clever thermal management can achieve a much higher and more powerful 18:1 compression ratio once it's running hot on the track. In simple terms, a higher compression ratio means more power and better fuel efficiency. Mercedes hasn't broken the rules, they've just outsmarted them. They've delivered an engineering masterstroke that gives them a significant and perfectly legal head start. It's important to understand the context of these new regulations. The 2026 power units are a complete revolution. They are designed to run on 100% sustainable fuels, and the hybrid system has been radically redesigned with a much greater emphasis on electrical power. This has presented a monumental challenge for all the engine manufacturers and has created a landscape where a single clever innovation can have a disproportionate impact on performance. The margins are incredibly fine, and any team that can find an edge, however small, stands to gain a massive advantage. And their rivals are absolutely furious. They see this not as innovation, but as a cynical exploitation of the regulations that undermines the spirit of the new rules. For Ferrari, the prospect of another era of Mercedes dominance is a nightmare. For Audi, a brand new entrant in 2026, it's a disastrous welcome to the sport, suggesting the game is already rigged. For Honda, it challenges their reputation as an elite power unit manufacturer. For Red Bull powertrains, it's a direct test of their ambition to stand on their own as a works engine operation. And so, they have formed a coalition, a political bloc with the power to force the FIA's hand. Their demand is simple: change the regulations immediately. They want the compression ratio test to be conducted when the engine is at full operating temperature, a move that would effectively outlaw Mercedes' design overnight. This is where the story gets even more dramatic, because this isn't just a technical squabble. It's a high-stakes political war with potentially catastrophic consequences. And into this war has stepped an unlikely defender of Mercedes, Williams team principal, James Vowels. Vowels, a former Mercedes chief strategist, is now leading a customer team, but he has come out swinging, not in support of the gang-up, but in defense of his engine supplier and the very principles of Formula One. It's a complex and fascinating dynamic, a story of loyalty, politics, and the fight for what it means to compete at the pinnacle of motorsport. And if you believe these are the kinds of stories that make Formula One more than just a race, then subscribe to our channel to help us build a community dedicated to exploring the drama behind the data. Vowels has made it clear that he sees this as an attack on the meritocratic core of the sport. This is a meritocracy where the best engineering outcome effectively gets rewarded, not punished as a result. He stated during the Bahrain test, he argues that what Mercedes has done is no different from legendary innovations of the past, like the double diffuser, which were also clever interpretations of the rules. In his view, punishing Mercedes for their ingenuity would be turning Formula One into a balance of performance series, where success is penalized to keep the field artificially close. He's not just defending his engine supplier, he's defending the idea that Formula One should be a competition where the smartest engineers win. This debate is as old as the sport itself. From Colin Chapman's revolutionary ground effect cars in the 1970s, to Gordon Murray's radical Brabham fan car, to Ross Brawn's double diffuser on the Brawn GP car in 2009, Formula One history is filled with examples of brilliant engineers finding loopholes in the regulations to gain a competitive advantage. In each case, their rivals cried foul, but history has generally remembered these moments as flashes of genius, not acts of cheating. Vowels is arguing that Mercedes' 2026 power unit belongs in that same category of legendary innovations. But Vowels has also issued a chilling warning about the practical consequences of what the rival teams are demanding. If the FIA caves to the pressure and changes the rules with immediate effect, the Mercedes power unit would likely be deemed illegal. And that, Vowels warns, would mean that all 8 Mercedes-powered cars, the factory team, plus customers Williams, McLaren, and Alpine, could be barred from participating in the opening race in Australia. What you do when you have effectively changed the rules that now mean there are 8 cars not participating on the grid, he asked. The implication is terrifying. A third of the field could be wiped out, plunging the sport into an unprecedented crisis. The FIA is now in an impossible position. They have been in dialogue with Mercedes throughout the engine's development and, by all accounts, were aware of the design. To backtrack now would be to admit their own regulations were flawed. FIA single-seater director Nicolas Tombazis has stated, "We want it to be a championship of engineering prowess, not just a smarter rule interpreter, but the line between the two is now the most contentious point in the entire sport. The governing body is caught between upholding its own rules and preventing a political mutiny that could tear the championship apart. The political maneuvering behind the scenes is intense. The 4-team alliance is leveraging its collective power, threatening to create a public relations nightmare for the sport. They are painting Mercedes as a team that is willing to win at any cost, even if it means undermining the competitive balance of the sport. Mercedes, in turn, is portraying itself as the victim of a witch hunt, a team that is being punished for its own brilliance. It's a battle of narratives, a war of words that is being fought in the media and in the corridors of power. The situation is a ticking time bomb. The 4-team alliance is not backing down. They are threatening official protests at the first race if the rules are not changed. Mercedes is standing firm, confident in the legality of their design, and James Vowels is fighting a public battle for the principles he believes in, even as the threat of being sidelined looms over his own team. As the teams head to Australia, the biggest question is not who has the fastest car, but whether the sport itself can survive this political civil war. The battle for the 2026 World Championship has begun, not with an overtake on track, but with a political power play that will define the future of Formula One. The implications of this conflict are enormous. If Mercedes is allowed to keep its advantage, it could signal a return to the kind of single-team dominance that the new regulations were designed to prevent. But if the FIA bows to the pressure and changes the rules, it could set a dangerous precedent where any innovation can be legislated out of existence by a powerful enough coalition of rivals. This is the tightrope that Formula One is now walking, and the entire world is watching to see which way it will fall. The most likely outcome is a compromise, a political solution that allows all parties to save face. Perhaps the FIA will introduce a clarification to the regulations for 2027, giving the other manufacturers time to catch up while allowing Mercedes to keep their advantage for a single season. Or perhaps a financial settlement will be reached, with Mercedes agreeing to share some of their technical data with their rivals in exchange for the withdrawal of the protest. Whatever the outcome, one thing is certain. The 2026 season will be remembered not just for the racing on the track, but for the political battles that were fought off it.